check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to Wind Down Wednesdays. Of course, we're your gracious host. My name is Tamikio.
Shay E, y'all.
And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Now, we wanted to try something new because we had a lot of feedback about our wine the last couple of segments. So I wanted to introduce the wine that we were drinking today. It looks like it's called Prophecy, Goddess of Fortune, and it's a rosé wine. It's flat, if Shay will say it, but I like it. She's not a wine drinker, so it doesn't really matter. But that's what we're drinking today. So yeah, you guys can get it from your Greens, Total Wine, Walmart. Yeah. So other than that, Shay, as far as real estate, what are we talking about today?
So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about what sellers should know before listing their home, and the pros and cons of listing it yourself, which will be considered a FSBO, versus having an expert like a realtor on hand. So for those who don't know, a FSBO is a seller who does not want to be represented by a real estate agent. So the abbreviations is FSBO. Just call it FSBO. For whatever reason, maybe they feel like they're more knowledgeable or have more knowledge. They don't want to pay a realtor's commission. Maybe they don't know how to go about getting a realtor. For whatever reason, they want to sell their homes by themselves. Now, I find that to be sort of difficult when you're trying to sell a home yourself as a FSBO. Some of the difficulties I see that FSBOs have is that they can't really negotiate. So negotiating is a big one. They really don't have data analysis to support their pricing. Unlike realtors, we do. We're actually experts at negotiating. Some don't have the availability to, be on call if there's a showing, where we as agents, always available for the most part, or can get another agent to come out and show a property. So those are just some things, the challenges I see with a FSBO. I know, Tamika, you've had first experience in a transaction where you came across a FSBO. What were like three things or a couple of key things that you noticed that he or she may have had difficulty with in the transaction?
Well, you actually named one of them. Negotiation was a major thing that we found was kind of a hiccup in my situation. Also, just knowledge of the process. The FSBO in this case actually did not have much knowledge of the real estate process. And I was representing the buyer, so I found myself in a situation where I was kind of having to educate both my buyer and still have her best interest at heart, as well as trying to make sure that the seller knew what was going on and where to be and what time. Also, like pricing, they grossly underpriced their home. So, that was a benefit for us, and we took advantage of that. Not to say it in a bad way, like take advantage, but we did. Me being the expert in that situation, I knew that the house was underpriced. So I brought it to my buyer's attention.
And that's a great point you just made. So you said that he or she basically underpriced their home. So in comparison to what they had it listed at, what was the price difference?
Oh, easily $30,000.
Wow.
Underpriced. Yeah.
$30,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And that's like another key example of, you don't, in some cases you may not want to pay an agent, but you should pay an agent because, at the end of the day, for a seller, I would think you want to maximize your profits versus, shortening yourself. Now, were you able to talk them down? Because you also mentioned that negotiating was a key element here too.
Well, because I was the expert in the transaction, negotiation was more difficult because, again, I had to be able to try to explain to the seller where he or she would have had an agent be able to help them negotiate. But we were able to basically get everything that my buyer wanted out of the transaction. And we did talk him down even more, so he actually
Wait a minute. So
lost less or lost more.
So you mean to tell me they underpriced the home and you were still able to get them, talk them down even lower?
Yes.
Good job. Good job. So I would have loved to have been the buyer in that case. And not saying that, she's taken advantage of, but at the end of the day, she works for her client's best interest. So we talked about pricing. We just talked about negotiation. How knowledgeable were they of the process?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Which again is what made it difficult because I was in some cases almost representing both. But I still had to always make sure that I maintain the integrity of my client.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of difficult in that situation, so that's why we try to urge, to really get a realtor, at least for a consultation if you do decide not to. If you have a realtor friend, someone who doesn't mind providing you with that information free of charge, you may benefit from that. But I think there were some things that you want to talk about as far as even if you decide to sell the home by yourself, what you should be thinking about doing before you put the property on the market.
Yeah, so sellers in general, whether you're being represented by a realtor or if you're doing it on your own as a FSBO, there are a lot of things to consider before listing your home. First, you need to know, what type of market is it? If it's a buyer or seller market. Typically, if it's a seller market, that means it's more buyers than it is inventory of homes. Vice versa, if it's a buyer's market, that means there's more sellers and less buyers. So the buyers have more leverage in a real estate transaction. Also outside of that, I think, some sellers need to, think about Renovations, yes. You must have been reading my mind. But renovations could be like upgrading kitchens and bathrooms, which typically will definitely sell the home more than anything. Or cosmetic things from painting the walls, replacing the floors, or any little thing like that. Probably a little small landscaping. Those things are things to take in consideration because most buyers nowadays, unless they're like investors, they want turnkey. They want to be able to move in right away. They don't want anything preventing them. And also, it's always good to try to prep your home, whether it's staging or cleansing the air or getting odor out from any pets, or if you're a smoker, because no one wants to move into something that isn't appealing. Yes. And also for financing purposes, the house has to be in certain conditions to meet certain financing requirements. But also, when is the best time to list? So say you're in a subdivision and a lot of your neighbors or some of your neighbors are thinking about listing their home. You may want to figure out when they're going to list it or they expected time frame so you can list it before them. Waiting on them can determine how much you can, play a role in, selling your house. Whatever they sell their house for can definitely impact yours. So you definitely want to be knowledgeable of what's going on in your area and knowing your bottom line, because you can get into a negotiating war and it goes back and forth, and you need to at least walk away with this. So just knowing your bottom line and how you can negotiate and make ways around that. Do you think there's anything else we need to cover as far as what sellers should do before listing their home?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. The only other thing that I really wanted to mention is that 91 or 92% of real estate transactions are handled with using a realtor. So keep that in mind, that majority of the transactions that are going on around you, they're using us. And it's for reasons like me and Shay pointed out, just the knowledge, the legalities, negotiation is so essential to a real estate transaction. So outside of that, I think you pretty much touched on everything. You think it's time to wrap it up?
Yep. So just to recap, we talked about what sellers should know before listing their home. You know, if you're going to be a FSBO, and the pros and cons of doing that versus having a realtor. But I thank you guys for tuning in today. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in to Wind Down Wednesdays. It's a wrap.
Check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dicks. He got a check.